Have you ever noticed what happens when you stop chasing her? When you suddenly stop replying instantly? When you're no longer available all the time? When you shift your focus back to your life, your goals, and your purpose? I'll tell you what happens me, and this might surprise you. Most men think a woman loses interest when you pull back. But studies in relationship, psychology, and centuries of Stoic wisdom reveal the opposite. When a woman senses that your emotional energy no longer revolves around her, something powerful is triggered deep inside her mind. She notices your silence. She notices your absence. She notices the sudden shift of energy, and trust me, she feels it more than you realize. Now here's where men mess up. Instead of leaning back with calm strength, they panic. They think, she'll forget me. They rush back, over text, over call, over chase him, and in doing so, they kill the mystery that actually makes her think about them in the first place. The Stoics understood this dynamic centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And this is where most men fail. They try to control her feelings instead of mastering their own energy. Because here's the truth. When you no longer appear interested, when you detach emotionally and move with purpose, a woman reacts in one of three very specific ways. And understanding these reactions, psychologically, emotionally, and philosophically, is the key to keeping your power, peace, and presence in any relationship. So let's break it down. Chapter 1. The power of emotional detachment. When I was younger, I thought love meant constant availability. I believed showing interest 24/7 was the right thing to do. I texted first. I called first. I planned everything. And every time, I noticed something strange. The more I chased, the less she valued me. Years later, while studying Stoic philosophy and relationship psychology, I finally understood why. A study from the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships revealed something fascinating. Humans value what requires effort, space, and uncertainty. When everything about you is predictable, constant, and fully available, the mystery dies. And when mystery dies, attraction slowly fades. I experienced this firsthand with Sophia, a marketing executive from London. At the start, she was texting me non-stop, initiating conversations and chasing my time. But when I became too available, her responses became shorter, slower, colder. I couldn't understand it. So I did what most men do. I tried harder. I sent longer texts. I complimented her more. I offered to meet anytime she wanted. The result? She pulled away completely. That's when I discovered the Stoic principle of emotional detachment. It doesn't mean ignoring her. It doesn't mean playing games. It means this: your sense cannot depend on her responses. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." I realized the truth. I wasn't hurt by her distance. I was hurt because I had placed my value in her attention. So I made a decision. I stopped initiating every conversation. I stopped rearranging my schedule to fit hers. I focused on my fitness, my business, my purpose. And guess what happened? Within weeks, her energy shifted. Suddenly, she was the one reaching out, suggesting plans, and investing more. Here's why. When you detach emotionally and move with purpose, you create psychological space. That space allows her to miss you, to wonder about you, to reinvest emotionally. It's not manipulation, it's human nature. The Stoics called it apatheia, freedom from emotional extremes. When you master this, you stop reacting from neediness and start acting from self-respect. Chapter 2. 3 common reactions women have when you pull back. When a woman realizes you're no longer fully interested, she reacts in one of 3 powerful ways. Understanding these reactions will give you clarity, control, and confidence. Reaction 1, she becomes curious. The first thing that usually happens, she notices the shift. Suddenly, you're not texting good morning every day. You're not instantly replying to her calls. You're not dropping everything to meet her. At first, she'll feel a subtle discomfort. Not anger, but curiosity. She'll wonder, why isn't he chasing me anymore? Did something change? Has he met someone else? This curiosity is powerful because it draws her back emotionally. A University of Kansas study found that selective availability, not being constantly accessible, significantly increases perceived value in romantic relationships. But here's the catch. If you fake detachment just to provoke her, it backfires. It only works when your energy genuinely shifts. When you focus on yourself, not her reaction. Reaction 2. She tries to reassert control. Some women, especially those used to constant validation, will react differently. Instead of curiosity, they feel threatened by the loss of attention. This often shows up as sudden compliments, more affectionate messages, asking indirect questions about your life, testing your availability. It's not manipulation, it's psychology. When someone loses power in a dynamic, they instinctively try to regain balance. This can be positive if handled calmly. But the mistake most men make? They reward her sudden effort by rushing back into old patterns. The Stoic approach? Stay grounded. Don't react emotionally to temporary changes. Watch her consistency, not her spikes of attention. Reaction 3. She disengages completely. Finally, there are situations where your detachment reveals something deeper. She simply wasn't as invested as you thought. And this, my friend, is a gift in disguise. A Cornell University study showed that over 40% of failed relationships involve one-sided emotional investment, where one partner cares significantly more than the other. When you pull back and she disappears, that's clarity. It saves you from pouring energy into a relationship where your effort was never going to be matched. Stoicism teaches us, choose not to be harmed by and you won't be. A Marcus Aurelius. Losing someone who was never truly yours isn't loss. It's freedom. Chapter 3. The Stoic Rule of Self-Mastery. Here's a hard truth. You cannot control how a woman reacts when she senses you're pulling away, but you can control your response. This is where the Stoics excelled. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." When she realizes you're no longer interested, her reactions can range from curiosity to frustration, even to complete silence. But a man with self-mastery stays calm, centered, and unshaken. Why? Because he understands a core Stoic principle. Your worth is internal, never dependent on her attention. Self-mastery means 3 things. 1. Control of your emotions. Don't chase when she pulls back. Don't gloat when she starts chasing. Stay grounded regardless of her reaction. 2. Control of your focus. Shift your energy from seeking validation to building value in your health, career, and purpose. 3. Control of your boundaries. Never compromise your peace to win her back. Respect yourself enough to walk away if needed. Remember, a man who needs nothing attracts everything. Chapter 4. The Law of Value Shift. Here's something psychology proves again and again. Scarcity creates value. When a woman realizes your attention is no longer guaranteed, it triggers a value recalibration in her mind. Suddenly, the man she once took for granted becomes mysterious again, and mystery creates desire. This is backed by a 2015 study from the Journal of Experimental Psychology. People assign greater value to relationships and possessions when they fear potential loss. In simpler terms, the less predictable you are, the more attractive you become. But there's a fine line between healthy mystery and manipulative games. Healthy mystery, focusing on your life, your growth, and your purpose. Manipulative games, ignoring her just to provoke her reaction. One builds respect, the other destroys trust. The Stoics called this principle kathekon, acting according to nature and reason, not impulse. Your pullback should never come from anger or revenge. It should come from alignment. If your time, attention, and energy are invested into your mission, you naturally become less available and paradoxically more desirable. Chapter 5. The Psychology of Reversed Investment. Let me tell you something few men realize. Attraction follows investment, not words. When you constantly invest your time, energy, and attention into a woman, you naturally value her more. But the reverse isn't always true. When you stop over-investing, something fascinating happens. She subconsciously feels compelled to rebalance the equation. Psychologists call this the principle of reciprocity. It explains why, when you give less emotional energy, a woman often starts giving more to restore equilibrium. For example, I once coached a client, Armand, who spent months texting a woman daily. She replied occasionally, but he carried 90% of the emotional effort. I told him to pull back, not as a tactic, but because chasing was draining his energy and self-respect. Within 2 weeks, she initiated first. Within a month, she was asking to meet more often. Why? Because energy dynamics shifted. When he stopped overgiving, she re-entered the game. But here's the key takeaway. This only works when your focus authentically shifts to yourself. If you fake it while secretly obsessing over her, she'll sense it instantly. Chapter 6. Emotional Neutrality, the Stoic Advantage. One of the most attractive traits in a man, emotional stability. Most men make two mistakes when they sense a woman noticing their detachment. 1. They over-celebrate her renewed interest. 2. They panic if she seems cold. Both reveal emotional dependence. The Stoics practice something called ataraxia, a calm, unshakable state of mind regardless of external chaos. Imagine this. She ignores your text. She suddenly flirts with someone else.
She tests you emotionally.
Most men spiral. A Stoic man doesn't flinch. He observes. He evaluates. He decides rationally, not emotionally. This emotional neutrality makes you magnetic because it signals you're secure, you're in control, you're not easily swayed by external validation, and women find security irresistibly attractive.
Chapter 7. The Art of Walking Away with Dignity.
Here's the final, most powerful point. Sometimes when she realizes you're no longer interested, she won't chase. She'll provoke you, or she'll simply move on. And this is where your true strength is tested. Sometimes walking away isn't just necessary, it's noble. When you refuse to beg, argue, or lower your standards. When you prioritize your peace over her approval. You demonstrate the highest form of masculine strength. Self-respect. The ability to let go when something no longer serves your growth is what separates a Stoic man from a needy man. And paradoxically, this quiet strength is often what makes her reevaluate and return. But even if she doesn't, you've already won because you've kept your power intact. The moment she realizes you're no longer interested is a turning point. You can panic and lose control, or you can embrace Stoic wisdom and step into your power. Choose silence over chasing. Choose purpose over validation, because when you master yourself, you master relationships. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.